Hello, and welcome back to Coffee and Calacas. I am your host, Joe. If you are new to this podcast, I just want to let you know that this podcast, we sit around the coffee table, drink some coffee, and discuss stories of the supernatural, mysticism, and what lies in the beyond. If this interests you, I hope you stick around and join us for future episodes. And I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Coffee and Calacas. And welcome back to Coffee and Calacas. This episode, we're going to discuss what happened to the lost colony of Roanoke. I just want to wish everyone out there a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you're all enjoying yourselves with your family and your friends, your fur babies, anyone that you really care about. If you are, awesome. Happy for you. Let's go ahead and dive into this week's episode. This is not going to be a very long episode. Rather short. You might even consider a mini episode. But nonetheless, we're going to dive into Roanoke. So, Roanoke is one of America's oldest unsolved mysteries. And, we gotta bust out, our forensics and the little dust pans and all that, and we're gonna, get dirty and figure out what happened to Roanoke. So Roanoke can be traced back to August of 1587. So some settlers left England in May of 1587. They wanted to come to the Americas for a better life, and they said, you know what? Let's hop on a boat and let's just go over there. I hear that they've got the Nintendo 64, and let's just go. Okay, they didn't say that, but anyways, they wanted a better life, and they said, why not? Let's hop over there and see what's going on. Let's go check out what the Americas have to offer. So about 115 to about 120 English settlers took off, and they arrived in the August. So that's already towards the end of the summer era, and which, not a bad idea. The only thing is that they should have arrived in the beginning of the summer, so they could have had more of a chance to prepare for the winter season. No que llegaron right at the end of the summer, so they had just a few short, weeks to gather goods and what they would need for a long winter. And global warming wasn't heard of back then, so winters then were pretty cold, and you didn't have snowmen in the winter. I mean, wait, no, you didn't have a sand man in the winter, because they didn't celebrate that, Anyways, so Roanoke, they arrived and they started settling, and about 2 to 3 months when they were here already, their governor or their official, the man in charge, his name is John White. He said, guys, I see it's going to be a rough winter. Let me head back home and go get some more supplies, more blankets, more clothes, more food, whatever we could use here. And he took off, and everyone's like, hey, all right, bring me back some, some good wine, and, we'll see you in a couple of months. And it had only taken them about 3 months to cross the ocean, so they had an idea of when he'd be back. However, no one had an idea of what was going on in England at that time. Once John arrived in England, a war broke out between England and Spain, and they said, John, get your stuff off the boat, we're going to use it for war. And John's like, but I just loaded it with my supplies to go to Roanoke. And they're like, no, bro, it's not going to happen. And they took his ship, and he had to wait 3 years. Is it 3 years? Yeah, he had to wait 3 years before he was able to return back to the Americas. During that time, John had left behind his wife, his daughter, and his infant granddaughter, the first baby to be born to English settlers in the Americas. Her name was actually Virginia Dare. So royal, so regal. Love that name. So yeah, when John was able to come back, it was already August of 1590. And when he returned, John's like, guys, where are you? And no one was around. So they're like, hey, we left you a voicemail, bro, but you didn't answer. It didn't exist. If technology like that existed, I mean, things would have been so much easier, right? Things still like that. You know, how do you leave a message for a man who you don't know is or is not going to come back? I mean, he said he is, but how are they to know that he wasn't eaten by, you know, a goat or something? So yeah, he arrives and he just sees a carved, I'm not sure if it was a tree. I don't have it in my notes here, but I know it might have been on a wooden post. It was the word Croatoan was carved into it. Yeah, it was a wooden post. So to John, I mean, it could have been anything. It could have been, well, was my family taken to Croatoan? Is that a place? Is that a tribe? Or what is Croatoan? John wasn't sure. He looked around. Everything was empty. He really had no clue about what had happened to his family. So, if you look into it, and you know, people have wondered what happened to Roanoke. I mean, it's been something that's questioned over years, and no one's really come up with like more than just theories. So Croatoan was the name of an island south of Roanoke, which was home to the Native American tribe of the same name, the Croatoans. So it's possible that they said, hey guys, we see you struggling here. Come on over. We've got some food. We've got supplies. Just come hang out with us. And when John comes back, or if he comes back, you know, you guys can just meet up with him then. But 3 years later, I mean, they probably forgot about who he was. So that, or they could have been killed by the Croatoans. And the Croatoans carved their name into the post because they're like, we want you to know that you come back over here and you're gonna end up in the same fate. It's possible. Other people have speculated that it's possible that the settlers got tired of waiting for John and they hopped on a ship and they said, peace, and they took off hoping to reach England, and then they got eaten by a sea monster. Okay, probably not a sea monster. That's my own version, which would be really epic if you ask me. You know, imagine you're floating around the sea and all of a sudden, boom, you know, you just get eaten. Pretty epic if you ask me. But they're saying that, you know, historians say that possibly while out at sea, Spaniards saw them, boarded their ship, killed them all, and they just met an ugly, you know, demise that way. If not hopping on a ship, then Spaniards could have come in from Florida and were like, hey guys, and killed them that way off too. The only thing is that for me, I feel that it doesn't make too much sense, just because you have the word Croatoan carved into the post. So what would make the most sense is that the Croatoans came and killed everyone, and they carved the name Croatoan into the post as a warning to, you know, ward off people from there. Honestly, that would be, you know, what would make the most sense. Besides that, aliens. I don't know why no one says aliens. I feel it's possible. These little people come over here all the time looking for us, you know. Who's not to say they were curious about these settlers and they said, let me just take you guys with me back to planet, you know, Planet X, and they're like, okay. Just say anything about it. So what? Since then, around 2000, in around the year 2007, efforts were made to begin collecting and analyzing DNA from local families in that area. So right now, Roanoke is what is currently North Carolina. Okay, so they've gone around collecting DNA, and they're hoping to analyze it and see if any of those DNA match with any of the English settlers, back in the day. Because they did believe that it's possible these people were absorbed into other tribes, or into other communities that were more established, and they say, hey, if it's possible, you guys are related to these people, and y'all didn't get eaten by aliens, or taken by a sea monster. It's just you guys got tired of waiting, which makes sense. I would say it does. So it's, one thing to be thankful for is that we're not them, and we're not being attacked by Spaniards, on all our, you know, on all sides. And we're not eaten by sea monsters, and we're not being abducted by aliens. Though let's be honest, that's kind of cool. Aliens for Thanksgiving, come on in. So anyways, that's kind of the mystery of Roanoke. People want to know what happened to it. There's not much to go off of, other than they probably got killed off by a tribe. So just wanted to share that with you guys, and I hope you have a beautiful Thanksgiving. Thank you.